Good evening to one and all present here. I, Aditi Singh Chandil, on behalf of entire IDG family, welcome you to its 118th session with Mr. Sam Pitroda, an internationally respected telecom inventor, entrepreneur, development thinker, and policymaker who has pioneered new paradigms in information communication technology sector. In 1987, during his tenure as advisor to Prime Minister Sri Rajiv Gandhi, Mr. Pitroda headed 6 technology missions related to telecommunications, water, literacy, immunization, dairy, and oilseeds. He founded and was the first chairman of India's Telecom Commission. Popularly known as the father of India's communication revolution, Mr. Pitroda has been working selflessly for the growth of our nation, which reminds me of a famous saying of Mahatma Gandhi that the best way to find oneself is to lose oneself in the service of others. So, having you with us today swells up our heart with pride, gratitude, and honor. On that note, I would request Krishna Tiwari to introduce the guest for all the attendees. Thank you so much.
Hi, am I audible?
Very
Yes.
much.
Okay. A very good morning to you, sir, and a very good evening to all our guests here. Today, we have with us an internationally respected and renowned personality who is colloquially known as the father of India's communication revolution for the services he has rendered to the country and to its telecommunication sector. Continuing from where Aditi left, as a way to induce the second phase of India's technology revolution, in 2005, Mr. Pitroda headed India's National Knowledge Commission to provide a blueprint for reform of the knowledge-related institutions and infrastructure for the 21st century in the country. Mr. Pitroda served as advisor to the Prime Minister of India on public information infrastructure and innovation with the rank of a cabinet minister. He served as the chairman of Smart Grid Task Force as well as the committees to reform public broadcasting, modernize railways, deliver e-governance, and other developmental activities. Mr. Pitroda is the founding chairman of 5 non-profit organizations, including the India Food Bank, the Global Knowledge Initiative, and the Institute of Transdisciplinary Health Sciences and Technology. In addition, Sir is an entrepreneur having started several companies in the United States. He holds around 20 honorary PhDs and around 100 worldwide patents. He has published 5 books and numerous papers and lectured widely all over the world. The list goes on and on. And to honor the same and his immense contribution in the field of science and engineering, he was awarded with Padma Bhushan in the year 2009. Today, Sir will have a session with us on the topic India at Crossroads. I'm sure we are going to have a really insightful session. Thank you once again, Sir, for agreeing to have a session with us. And over to Aditi now.
I would request all the attendees to keep their microphones on mute to make the most of the session. Without further ado, I would request Sir to begin with the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aditi. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Aditi, who helped organize this. Dear students, greetings from Chicago. It is indeed a special privilege and honor for me to talk to you about India at Crossroads. First, Happy New Year to all of you. I don't get to talk to law students all the time, so I'm delighted to see so many young faces ready to listen. I may not have many words of wisdom, but I definitely want to share some of my thoughts in next 15-20 minutes and then open up for a broader conversation. I believe India is at crossroads today because of 5 main reasons. First, and the most important one to me at this stage, is that India is going through a very difficult time because of polarized politics. Today, Indian politics occupies huge space in our national debate. Everybody is into politics. Everybody talks only about politics. National television programs, radios, newspapers are full of attacks on each other. And the polarized politics has really created problems for our institutions. Our institutions are no longer autonomous, whether it is education, health, judiciary, police, all our institutions are being politicized. Two, as a result of polarized politics, civil society is basically killed, either with attacks on liberal thought, income tax raid, stopping of foreign aid, or all kinds of issues, putting people in jail. And when you begin to attack civil society, you really curb independent voice. And people who are dedicated to one cause, whether it is education, health, environment, whatever, and you lose objectivity in many areas. Third, we have lost scientific temper. We promote, in the name of religion, all kinds of alternatives. Somebody talks about, cow's urine as the ultimate answer. I mean, where is our scientific mindset? We have lost ability to have a rational, logical approach to discussion. Discussion always gets into argument, personality conflict, history which go back to Ram and Hanuman and all that. And no one talks about the reality of today. We always go back and don't look at future. We are not looking at the front. We don't have the vision to focus on future. And most of the conversation is about past, history, our heritage, our tradition, our religion. So that's one big challenge. And it is because of polarized politics, we are at crossroads. But then there are a lot of opportunities. We are at crossroads because digital technology is offering huge opportunity for India. For the first time, India is a country of connected billion. What does this connectivity mean to India going forward? How are we going to use this connectivity to lift millions and millions from poverty, educate them, improve our health system, improve standard of living? Connectivity is not about social media, entertainment, political gossip, and spreading lies. Connectivity is about lifting large number of people. And we have huge opportunities because of connectivity. Because connectivity brings about efficiency, productivity, cost reduction. Hyperconnectivity is all about decentralization, demonetization, and democratization of knowledge. It has impact on everything. It has impact on education, health, governance. Look at the benefits of UID, of payment systems, of national knowledge network, connecting all our panchayats to high-speed broadband. What does all of these things mean to India? If we don't take advantage of these digital opportunities, we will be missing a great, great event in front of us. I believe digital opportunities will create another 5 million jobs immediately. Today, we employ 5 million people in digital area. I believe quickly we can employ 10 million. And digital transformation requires, again, right politics. Digital transformation requires empowering people. And empowering people is counter thesis to polarized politics. You need democracy, you need freedom, you need decentralization, you need justice to really take advantage of digital opportunities. Third reason, because we are at crossroads, is we have huge young talent in the country. And I'm telling you from my own personal experiences. In 84, 85, we built a team of about 400 great Indian engineers to transform digital technology in India by developing at CDOT our own digital exchange. Then we created an organization called CDAC, where we had another 400 or 500 young people who transformed computing scene in India. So all the things you see today has had roots in young talent from IITs, IIMs, and many other good universities all over India. Young talent in India is now engaged in startups. There are many billionaires. They are not only in IT, they are also in biotech, nanotech, health, material science, energy, environment. How do we take this young talent and really give them the freedom and flexibility to solve larger problems of the society? Unfortunately, world over, best brains are busy solving problems of the rich, who really don't have problems to solve. But Indian young talent is geared towards solving problems of the poor. And I believe we will be missing this opportunity if we don't recognize and structure ourselves, because India is the only country today in the free world that has the kind of talent you need in the numbers you need. Everywhere else, population is aging, decreasing. In India, population is young, still increasing, and Indians could be the workforce for the world when it comes to knowledge workforce. Fourth, we are at crossroad because Corona crisis has really put everybody on halt. Corona crisis has changed our idea of social interactions, idea of economy, health systems, and a lot of weaknesses have been exposed. We are recognizing that we really don't have a good health system at district levels. We may have good hospitals in some big urban cities, but the real public health issues are addressed at a district level. And we don't have good district level governance system. Corona crisis has also told us that at the end of the day, there are only two things that matter: planet and people. Everything we do today must take into consideration two fundamental questions. Is it good for planet or is it bad for planet? Is it good for people or it is bad for people? When it comes to planet, it is all about sustainability. Environment, ocean, animals, marine products, ecosystem, forest, all of these things matter. It is not about building concrete buildings. It is about preserving our ecosystem. Look at the fact that we can't breathe in Delhi because Delhi air is so polluted. What kind of a national capital is that? And now we are building massive new government, parliaments and other things. I would rather spend that money on cleaning Delhi's environment. Similarly, people. We have to ask, is it good for people or it is bad for people? If it is bad for people, don't do it. What it means is we need dignity, respect for every human being. We need to focus on inclusion. We should not divide people between this group and that group. Today, if it is a hate speech against Muslim that I've heard in the last few weeks, tomorrow it will be hate speech against Dalits. Day after tomorrow, it will be against tribals. Later on, it will be against each other. And that trend cannot be allowed. So Corona crisis tells us that we are all same. No matter what our religion is, what our color is, what our gender is, we got to respect everybody. And we got to provide dignity to everybody. We cannot distinguish people based on religion, language, sex, color. And it's a problem all over the world. It's a problem in America because of Black Lives Matter. It's a problem in China. It's a problem in Europe. And in India, it's a problem in huge numbers because of our caste system, because of what is going on right now against people from different religion. And to me, Corona crisis is an opportunity to reflect and review on our strategies. And finally, fifth reason we are at crossroads is because the challenge is to redesign our systems are huge and opportunities are equally great. We need to redesign our education. We need to redesign our health system. We need to redesign our governance. Everywhere I look around, we need to redesign our courts. I worked with judiciary in Delhi. We digitized Delhi court. We have 35 million court cases pending. What kind of a system is that? Where it takes you 10 years to get justice. 35 million or 40 million court cases pending in India. And this was about 10 years ago. Why can't we use digital technology to clean up? That's an opportunity. Why can't we completely digitize all our courts, change our laws so deposition can be taken on video and all that? And a lot of that is happening, but not happening at the pace we want. We must have a mission like we will clean up all pending court cases in next 2 years, 3 years. It can be done. That's an opportunity. And that's why we are at crossroads. We have a challenge on employment. Our unemployment is almost 24%, I'm told. We have a challenge related to small and medium scale industries because only big industry and stock market is booming and people are lying about what is happening. And lies get multiplied today. Lies get sold. I just received an email from a professor at IIT, not professor, he was a graduate from IIT Kanpur, where Prime Minister of India in his convocation speech said that nothing got done in the first 25 years of India's independence. If Prime Minister of a country says something like this to young students, poor young students listen to it. It's a lie. Either you have to be ignorant or you have to be a liar to say something like that and get away with it. How can you do that? There's a long list of things that got done in 25 years. And that is the kind of politics that is hurting India today. So we have huge challenge of unemployment, modernization of our agriculture, modernization of our power sector, energy sector rather. So these are the 5 reasons I believe we are at crossroads. What do we do next? I think we really need to focus on the kind of nation we want to build. It is not about this party or that party. It is not about this leader or that leader, because people come and go. Everybody has to die at some point in time. But nations don't die. Communities survive. Young people carry on. So you have to decide as young, do you want to build a democratic nation? Do you want freedom? Do you want justice? Do you want equality? Do you want better environment? Do you want better opportunities? Better jobs? Then you got to focus on that. And this is the time to really ask those fundamental questions and not get trapped in politics of one party or the other party. Parties don't matter. What matters is the idea of a nation. Do you want to live in a community where people fight with each other? Will that create progress? Will that provide prosperity? If the answer is no, you got to decide what inclusion means to you. I am very concerned about what is going on in India today. I am very concerned because digital technology is not effectively used for good of India. It is more of a tool to divide the system, divide the society, change the mind of the young, arouse a lot of false sentiment, and lose sight of the real challenges we are all faced with. That's why I think we are at crossroads. With this, I want to stop here. I want to thank Aditi and Honorable Vice Chancellor for the opportunity, and I'll be open for a conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your thought-provoking words. On this note, moving on to question answer session, I would request all the attendees to start posting their questions in the chat box, and we will try to take as many questions as possible and time permits. Thank you so much, sir. We have Anirudh Goyal with us, and he would like to ask a question to you.
Sir, since you have worked in the area of telecommunications and IT, I wanted to know your opinion on India's cryptocurrency policy. So we all know that the Indian government was earlier planning to ban the use of cryptocurrencies in totality. But now, under the cryptocurrency bill, they have decided to designate it as a financial asset. So what are your views on India's policy on cryptocurrency? And do you think there is any future in which cryptocurrency may become legal tender in any country?
Cryptocurrency is still in very early stages, and our understanding globally is still pretty sketchy. It is an asset which fluctuates too much, and people don't believe that that asset class is real. It is more speculative. Everybody is still experimenting with it. Some have agreed to use it. Someone like China has said, we don't want anything to do with cryptocurrency. There is also debate going on about government issued related to fiat, a digital currency. So I think jury is still out on how it will unfold. There is a lot of noise in the system. People like decentralization of financial system. I'm not an economist. I don't know enough about the implications, but I would worry about privatizing money, like I would worry about privatizing justice. Okay, you can't privatize justice, where every businessman will say it is my way of justice. Same way, I don't think you can privatize currency the way it is being done today. Okay, that's my view.
So just one follow-up to this. So moving aside from this question, but taking on from your idea of privatization and where it starts and where it ends, what is your view on the privatization that is happening in India right now? Privatization of banks, privatization of many public sector companies, Air India. Because we have seen that the UPA government was very ambiguous about its idea on how India should go about privatization. We did not see a lot of it happening. But now that the government is doing it, we are not seeing a lot of political opposition to it also. So what is your
You
view
see,
on?
privatization is a phase that makes sense at certain time and does not make sense at certain time in certain industry, not just time. A lot of people think that we should have privatized in 60s and 50s and 70s. We didn't have anything to privatize. We didn't have the wherewithal. It's like saying I have a newborn baby and I'm going to throw him in a fighting ring. You got to prepare your baby before you throw him in a fighting ring. So government rightfully so decided, maybe a little longer than they should have, to focus on public sector. We didn't have capital or talent in the private sector to privatize. Take, for example, Telecom. When we started privatizing Telecom, the only talent in Telecom was only in public sector. So all these private companies that have come up in Telecom stole their talent from public sector. Okay. So it is good that we are trying to privatize as much as we can. The question is at what price, at what time, which sector? And these are all very complicated questions. Okay. There is no one answer to this. Is it good time to privatize railway? I don't know. Is it good time to privatize airlines? It is good time to privatize steel industries. It is good time to privatize hotel. Each case is different. We must decide that government has a role to play. Public sector do play a role, like in space, atomic energy, at one time in telecom, and now telecom is privatized. At one time, only player in steel was government. Now it is private. So I think it's a journey. And every country has gone through it. And I think we are going through that journey right now. It's okay.
Thank you so much,
Next.
sir.
Aditi, next.
Yes, sir. Next question is sent to us by Srishti Solanki. She's asking, do you think it was a right decision for the government to buy stake in Vodafone Idea in consideration for foregoing its AGR dues? Was there any other alternative before the government to solve the problem?
It is a specific issue. If I was in that position, on one hand, I want to privatize telecom. On the other hand, government wants to intervene and save a telecom. There could have been a better way to save it rather than buying an equity. But that's a decision that people who were dealing with it made it. So I don't want to comment on it, But I would have said that invest in some other way, support them in some other way so they survive, but don't buy equity. I'm okay, Because in India today, really you have four key players. You have Jio, Airtel, Vodafone, and a little bit of BSNL, and sort of Bharat Telecom or whatever they call it. Okay, these are the four players now. Finally, at one time we had maybe 20 players. Okay, so we have consolidated industry, which is okay in most of the large countries. Next.
Thank you, sir. Toshita Jha is asking, being well versed with the IT and telecom sector, how do you think that the government should have handled the Pegasus scandal?
Which one? Pegasus scandal. I have no idea. I have no idea what Pegasus scandal is. It is a scandal. I've read a little bit in the paper, so I can't make my judgment based on what I've read in the paper. I can't comment. All I can say is I don't want to use these kinds of tools for surveillance of the people. I don't buy that idea. Okay. I don't want to have surveillance on my vice chancellor of a law college. What would I get? Okay. What am I trying to find from these people? My own government has to be open, transparent. And if my government is not open and transparent, I feel sorry for them. Okay. Why would anybody use these kinds of tools to spy on your own people? Okay. Doesn't make sense. Today you spy on this, tomorrow you spy on your own family. Okay. Is that the kind of world we want to live in? So it's a larger ideological issue. Okay. I would not approve of any spying tool on anybody, even my enemy. Okay. I just won't do it. It's morally, ethically is not right for me.
Thank you, sir. Saurabh Paul is asking, we are observing anti-science trends across jurisdictions. How do we counter such trends?
I said we need scientific mindset. We need more young people to explain to people that, hey, these are not the answers to our future. You can't go on believing in this myth all along because our great-great-great-grandparents believed in it. That was a different world. I want more reasoning. I want more logical approach to problem solving. I want more rational viewpoint. I want to be able to discuss, debate, disagree, okay, and still be friends. I don't want disagreement to be taken personally. You see, one thing I have learned in India is people do not distinguish between criticizing their idea and criticizing them. These are two separate issues. You, Shriti and I could disagree on one issue, and I could criticize her or she could criticize me. That doesn't mean we are criticizing each other. Today, I may have a good idea. Tomorrow, I may have a bad idea. So it's okay for Shriti to say that, Mr. Pitroda, this is a bad idea. That's okay. We tend to confuse criticism of our idea with personal criticism. And it creates huge personality conflict. Everywhere you see it on TV, people arguing unnecessarily. They're not arguing idea, they're arguing personalities because the self-esteem is very fragile. Everybody is ready to be hurt. And it's a problem. It's a very serious problem. Next.
Arya Kant is asking, what exactly is the future of artificial intelligence, its implementation in India, with special reference to government departments?
AI is a tool again. It is a tool that can be applied to different things for different benefits. If you're using AI as a tool for, let's say, distribution of rice, then you use that tool to get all the right numbers, right location, right people, machine learning, AI could be used for that. If you're using AI for, let's say, minimizing court cases, okay, so we can take all the court cases, 35 million, and say, what are the categories? Can we come up with 100 categories, general, not that everyone will fit into those. Then the AI will say this court case is similar to that court case. So that decision should be similar to this. Okay. So AI can be used in government for thousands and thousands of applications. From revenue collection, income tax, food distribution, elections, education, health, you name it. Financial services. It is just a tool to really bring clarity to large amount of data. See, when you have huge amount of data, how do you bring clarity? Somebody throws, you go Google and they throw you with 4 million documents. What do you do with those 4 million documents? Who's going to curate that information for you? AI basically will help you curate that information to give you intelligence in the manner you want. Again, I want to go back and clarify, it is not a tool for government, for justice, or for income tax. It is a tool for everything. And the way AI has to be used has to be defined by the domain experts and not by IT people. And that's the big difference. Domain expert has to say that this is what I want. Now you tell me how do I get it? Okay. So.
Thank you so much, sir. Sayam Jha is asking, sir, considering the pandemic has shifted almost all the sectors to digital mode, do you think education sector, specifically colleges and schools, benefit from this compulsion and should adopt this in future, or should seek to go back to physical mode?
I believe education today needs generational change, not in India, but all over the world. Education model that we have propagated for last several hundred years is basically broken because education has become too expensive in many countries. I got my master's in physics in India from Maharaja Sayaji Rao University in 1964 for 500 rupees. Now, can you believe that? That was my tuition total. That education system has now gotten to a point, I can't even get a master's in physics for 5 lakh rupees from a good university. So everywhere, the old model is falling apart. It takes $200,000 to get an MBA in US. Is it worth it? It cost in India several crores to become a doctor. Yeah. Can you afford it? So I think we need a new model of learning, because we, in the old model, don't make people self-learner. We constantly teach them what to do. I want to use digital technology to make young person a self-learner. Because to learn, you really need 3 things. You need motivation, you need time, and you need content. When you are 4, 5, 7, 10-year-old, it's okay. But when you are mature a little bit, 15 year, you should be self-motivated. If you're not motivated, why go to school? In that model of self-learning, digital learning becomes an important piece of the puzzle, because there is so much information available, but you also need a mentor. So teacher has to change their profession to be a mentor. But today teachers are not trained to be mentor. They are trained to deliver lectures. I don't need teacher to deliver lecture. I can get lecture delivered by anybody, anywhere, anytime. So I'm going to flip the classroom. I don't want lectures in the class. I want lectures at home. But I want to come to class to do my homework. Today I do my homework at home and lecture in the class. I want to reduce cost of learning substantially. I want to expand learning in a multidisciplinary approach, so you don't have these vertical silos that we have today. And that's where I think more and more of digital learning is going to be effective, useful, productive, and important. But you do need some physical interactions. Those interactions are required not for delivering lectures in a class to 400 people or 50 people. Those interactions are required to solve problems, have a conversation, debate, discuss an issue. And some of that can be done on digital media as well. But classes don't have to be in a classroom. It could be at railway station. It could be at bus stand. It could be at cafeteria. And that's the model that's going to change. And I'm sure in the next 20 years, you will see a massive change in education system world over. Next.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, Krishna Tiwari would like to ask a question to you.
Please.
So, diversity in our population, it's a very celebrated notion, especially in India. However, it has been a challenge to implement policies with the amount of diversity we have. So, how did you tackle this when you were in policy making? And what are your suggestions for the present times, the present government, since the model is being followed much more rigorously than before?
I like India's diversity. I'm one of those who enjoys the fact that I was born in Orissa of Gujarati parents, had an opportunity to interact with students from South India in Baroda. And I like India's diversity in food, music, culture, art, dance, you name it. We all look different, but we also look same. People in East look like Chinese, which is great. So India is blessed with the diversity of all kinds in our language, dress, and what a great thing to have. We got to celebrate our diversity. It is okay for you to eat meat. I don't care. I can't fight with you for that. It is okay for you to speak different language, sing different song, pray different God. Okay, I'm fine. But I got to deal with you as a human being. I got to start with you with respect, dignity. I got to hear you out. And I got to find similarities and not fight on differences. I got to agree on few issues that we have to work together and not focus on disagreement where we can't work together. That has been my approach all my life, and it has worked, And diversity doesn't necessarily imply just language and all. It also implies, rural, urban, educated, uneducated, man, women, child, old. These are all diversities. Okay. I don't want to deal with just people like me. It'll be such a boring thing to do in life. I want to deal with different people. I want to respect them. I want to learn from them. I want to have a conversation with them. And I want to respect what they do as well. And which may be exactly opposite to what I do. Perfectly okay. That's what I would do.
Yes, Krishna, please go ahead.
Also, sir, with respect to what you said, with respect to the Pegasus scandal, so if the allegations were found true, what kind of a system would you suggest that ensures that in future such a thing does not take place? Because the influence of these technologies and AI over all the aspects of our lives is so much. So how would you, what would your suggestion be on that?
Look, at the end of the day, you need to elect good people. The people you elect are nasty. No amount of rules and regulations will help you. Okay. If you want to cheat, you want to cheat. If you want to lie, you want to lie. Okay. If you want to harass people, you want to harass people. See, I was born in 1942. I'm 80 years old. I was born in British Raj. I grew up in Gandhian environment. I believed in early childhood, at home, from our teachers in school who were Gandhian, the fact that truth, trust, love, diversity, justice, freedom, autonomy matter. And there is no compromise on that. I would never lie. I have never lied in my life. I can say it with oath. There's no need to lie. Okay. Now, if I don't believe in these values, no amount of laws will help. I will cheat anyway. And people openly lie and they have no shame. They have no problem lying. I mean, how do you deal with a person like that? There is no conversation. It's not possible to have conversation. Okay. There is no trust. So my problem today is, if I believe in truth, people believe in lies. If I believe in trust, they believe in mistrust. If I believe in love, they believe in hate. Now, where is the common ground to talk? That's my problem. So Pegasus, no Pegasus. Who initiated Pegasus? Somebody must have. That person must be, vindictive. Why do you want to be vindictive? Okay. If you want to know something from somebody, just why don't you go and ask them? Okay. And assume that he will tell you the truth and not lie. Okay. So it's a different way of looking at it. I mean, I don't know how to even have a conversation with a person who doesn't agree with these things. Okay. But I still respect them. I still love them. I still care for them. If that's what they have selected, too bad. Next.
Thank you so much for the answer, sir. Nadia Murshid is asking, having helmed multiple startups yourself, what is your opinion on the startup culture and the government's initiatives to boost startups?
Well, a lot of young people are starting new businesses, which is good. I encourage them. I think I respect them. And I'm glad that they are doing it, because they'll be creating more opportunities, more jobs. If educated people want to take a job and not create job, how are we going to create new jobs? So I respect all that. Government need to encourage more and more of this. We started that as part of the National Innovation Council. The startup culture that you see today was sort of encouraged as part of the Innovation Council in Kerala and everywhere else. And I'm glad it is taking on. And I'm happy about it. And government should do more to get risk capital for them, give them coaching, nurture them, respect their failures, and encourage them. Good idea. Next.
Sir, Sharbati was asking if you can elaborate a bit further on how digitization can be a tool for us to settle the pending 35 million cases. And can you suggest a roadmap for this, considering that you have worked on digitization of Delhi High Court?
Okay. There is a report. Justice Lokur worked with us at length. He was very good, very supportive. And we computerized all the courts in Delhi. There are files and files of documents, rooms full of documents and files. Probably 15, 30 different halls of legal files in Delhi that we converted into a black box about that big. And we said, look, you can get rid of all of these files. All your data is in this. Now let's take this data and analyze. How many court cases are pending? How many are related to family dispute? How many related to land? How many related to, personal properties? How many, violence or whatever? And then try to categorize these and organize in a manner where we can expedite justice. And everybody liked the idea. We said, this is great. But then they said, okay, we need more, judges, and we need better buildings. So we got funds approved. I think Salman Khurshid was a law minister at one time. So I went to Salman, talked to him, and we got some, 800 crores or something dedicated to digitize India's courts and hire more justice and change buildings and all that. But no one really championed it. You need a change agent within legal system. And no one really is there for long enough to be a change agent. You need a group of 10 young people like you guys and saying their job is to just reform the system while everybody is doing their thing. Okay. You need political will in judiciary to change, saying, I'm going to change now. Okay, I'm going to use digital courts. I'm going to settle court cases, and I take responsibility in my court to make sure that in 24 months, there will not be any backlog, or 36 months, or whatever you decide. It can be done, but it needs will from the big bosses in judiciary. I went and met all chief justices in my time, one by one. As soon as the new chief justice was appointed, I went to his house. I had tea with him. Everyone agreed. Not a single. I met about, in my tenure, I had about 5, recent tenure, not in Rajiv Gandhi's time, with Manmohan Singh. I think I had 5 or 6 chief justices. You can go through it. As soon as the chief justice was appointed, I called him, went to his house, had tea with him, and they were all very nice. They were all very supportive. They said, yes, Mr. Pitroda, we agree with you. We should do this. And then I gave a talk from here to about maybe 200-300 judges in Delhi on video. When law minister was our friend from Karnataka. What's his name?
Moily.
He was a law minister.
Moily, perhaps.
Moily.
Moily.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So Moily organized it. I gave a big presentation on digitization of court to these 200-300 judges. They all agreed. They were in love with it. Nothing happened. Because it is nobody's job and it is everybody's interest. You have to make that somebody's job, saying, you, this team, in the next 36 months will change the judiciary system in India. IT is one tool. There are many other tools. Okay. IT is not going to transform judiciary if judges don't want to transform. Okay. What else do we need beside IT? And you got to really work it. We know how to do it. We meaning, I don't mean I, we meaning, Indian community, Indian talent knows how to do it. I mean, Justice Lakur was so good. Okay. I just loved him. Very supportive, very clear, but we couldn't do it. It's a fact of life. And every Chief Justice said it's a good idea. Nobody said, hey, we don't want to do it. It's a bad thing to do. Nobody said that. And they all meant it also. But they were not there for long enough to do anything. Okay, next.
Thank you so
We have
much.
another maybe 5 minutes, and then I have another one at 9:15, so I got to go.
Sure, sir. Sir, Suansh is asking,
Yes.
you presented all the 5 crossroads that India is at right now. Do you believe the first point, polarized politics, has led to the others?
Yeah, I think polarized politics is probably more important. Agree.
Thank you so much, sir.
I saw
Naveen?
something on that the digitization has to start at police. Agree. Another
Yes,
thing we did
Mr.
is very
Andrew.
interesting because when we started looking at digitization of the court, immediately this question came up. So we said we need to digitize police and we also need to digitize hospitals. So who's going to do it? I called a meeting of police, courts, and hospital people. And everybody agreed that we should do it, but nobody wanted to share each other's database. What they're saying is, I'm not interested in solving the problem. Okay. If you had political will, you could say, too bad, you got to solve this. So the whole thing has to be integrated. It cannot be done in isolation. That's why IT is not a tool just for justice. IT is a tool which requires multiple solutions to solve a problem. Sorry. Go ahead.
Taking up the one last question, Navya is asking, have digital and Make in India actually brought any benefits to the small players, the mom and pop stores and MSMEs?
I don't think Make in India has really, I mean, it's a great slogan, but it has been going on. In C.Dot was making in India. CDAC was Make in India. We did computer. Make in India has been going on since independence. There's nothing new. There's a lot of publicity and a lot of, money spent on media. What do you think atomic energy is making India? What do you think space research is? Make in India. What do you think AIMS is? It's Make in India. Okay. What about all IITs? What about all IIMs? It's Make in India. So just because we are giving new slogans doesn't make it right. Make in India has been going on for a long time, but it's a good idea to promote. It is a good idea to say that we want to make more things in India. Nothing wrong with it. It's good. But what is happening on the ground is more important than PR and publicity. Just go see what is happening and you will know it.
Thank you so much, sir, for answering all these questions. I would request VC sir to speak 2 lines for us.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation. And myself, and along with my students and colleagues, we perceived what is wisdom. I have read some of your writings, particularly our legal education and law schools future and your wisdom. I think if we and few law teachers realize, but law schools not able to implement it, and for that to some extent few of our new young students are accepting the international challenge. Our students and some Bengali students now working in international various countries. So more internationalization and technology. And for your kind information, our NUJ is the first university introduced law and technology as a postgraduate course from this academic year. And I really realize that digital education is our future. We have to integrate it with our, but as you suggested that our classroom pattern of teaching and the perception of teaching learning to some extent changed in the new paradigm. We are really grateful for hearing you. Thank you, sir, for joining us. Thank you all who are in the program today.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I would request Neil Tulsiani to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, all. It's an honor to have been asked to offer a vote of thanks on the occasion of this informal session. On the behalf of the IDG and the members here, I give my heartfelt gratitude to our guest, Mr. Sam Pitroda, sir, for taking out time from your tight schedule and sharing your graceful words and knowledge with us in today's meeting. I would also like to thank Sir for covering the topic for today's discussion in every way possible and answering the various questions related to it and in general. Sir very rightly pointed out how we are as a nation at crossroads in both good and bad ways. The good consisting of massive Indian digitalization, talent, resourcefulness, manpower, and the negatives being that of polarized politics, lack of infrastructure, governance, poverty, all of them which came to light again during the pandemic. Also, his thoughts on government policy, justice, and privatization, etc., were very insightful. A special thanks to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Mr. N.K. Chakrabarti, for his presence here, making this session even more of remembrance. I would also like to thank everyone who came up with various creative questions on the topic and beyond, and also the general body members who attended the session. Lastly, I would like to thank all the members of the IDG for their efforts and duties for the smooth conduct of this session and making it a memorable one.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity and look forward to remaining in touch. It's nice to see so many bright young faces. I mean, they can change the world, but we have to give them a chance.
Yes.
I mean, you take these 10 people I see on the screen or 5 people and say, give me a plan to reform, justice in West Bengal. Yeah. These kids will do it. I have great confidence in them, but you got to let them do it. You got to listen to them. You got to love them. You got to encourage them. But we won't do that. Some senior guy will come and kill everything. And that's why we don't get things done. Thank you and wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for coming here.